All right, this is Omar McCallop, and this is Ask a Lender podcast coming to you today from Wake Forest, North Carolina, in the beautiful studios of American Liberty Mortgage. And today, I have a special guest with me, Ms. Jet.hatu from, what's the name of your realty company again?
First Class Real Estate.
First
Triangle
Class.
East. Yep.
Cool. And they are based in Rocky Mount?
Rocky Mount. We are a nationwide franchise.
Okay.
Our hub's in Rocky Mount. We cover from Rocky Mount all the way to, Raleigh all the way to the coast.
Okay, cool. So to back up a little bit, the whole purpose and why we started the Ask a Lender podcast is we just wanted to have casual conversations about lending and real estate so that people have the opportunity to just familiarize themselves with the process, how it works. And then we also accept questions from the public because there may be things that you guys want to know that, we don't talk about. So really quickly, the email, and it'll show up on the screen, is askalenderpodcast@gmail.com. So at any time, if you have any questions, something we didn't cover, we can use the email. You guys can reach out to us and, and we can get them answered. So sit down, enjoy yourselves, and we're going to jump into it. So the first question I have for you, Jet, is how did you get into real estate?
Well, I was in the corporate world, doing something else for about 7 or 8 years in sales management. And on a whim, my husband and I decided to start a garage door company.
Okay.
And so he was constantly in and out of homes, repairing garages, commercial properties. And we found out that a lot of these homes were getting prepared to go on the market.
Right.
And so we sat down and we put our heads together, and he was like, this would be a really good avenue. I can go off and do all the repairs, and I can be a huge advocate for you in the real estate market. And so it's two in the same. We're working inside of homes and home improvement and helping people's real estate dreams come true, so to speak. Right. So once I left the corporate world, I found First Class Real Estate. And I was their recruiter for a little while. And while I was getting my license, now I'm the broker office manager. I am licensed and currently in production.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that has to be a great tag team because the garages and the doors are going to add a value to the home when it gets ready to go onto the market. So how do you like it so far as you being in corporate America, and then we're in the garage door business together? Now, do you actually get out there and work?
I have. I have gotten out there. I've replaced rollers and hinges, springs, not so much.
Wow.
If you're familiar with any kind of garage door products. Motors, don't get me to trying to program them or anything.
Oh my goodness.
I've replaced bottom seals. I mean, in order to own a company and be able to sell your product, you have to know the product.
Right.
So I've been on job sites. I have completed jobs, although that's not my forte.
Right.
But I like this a lot better. I get to dress up and talk to people every day. Right. And make their, homeowners' dreams come true.
But that probably helps you a lot when you're listing a home, because just like in the garage biz, you have to sell the sales component to that as far as people's homes and showing them the value. The same is true for when you list a home, telling about that home and marketing and selling that home. So
right.
That goes. I would imagine that helps you out a lot in that space. But yeah, being an agent and not having to actually work on the parts is probably a big relief. Now your husband has to do it all by himself.
Well, we have a team that helps him.
Okay.
I do all of this sales, marketing, behind the scenes, invoices, all of that. He does all the heavy labor.
Okay. So now that you're on the real estate side more, what do you like the most about real estate now that you're over on this side and licensing and whatnot? What's your favorite thing to do, would you say?
And most real estate agents would look at me and be like, "You're crazy," but I love the freedom that it allows me. I get to basically make my own schedule, set my own schedule. Whereas when I was in corporate America, I was Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and sometimes salaried. I was working way more hours than that.
Oh, sure.
Now I'm very involved in my community in the Rocky Mount area, from coaching to volunteering with our chamber. Mm-hmm. So I love to get out. I love to network. I love to meet with people, and this job allows me to do that. It allows me to be able to just have that freedom that I want.
And that gives you being out in the community, I assume, you know a lot about the real estate landscaping that community, like what things are selling for, and just being able to advise people that way. So that's a double positive, if you will. So in the community, so what are you mentioned softball. Tell me more about what you do as far as softball and things like that. I coach softball too as well, so we have that in common.
We connected on that. Well, I've been playing and coaching for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
I know I don't look it, but
you absolutely do not. You do not.
I started playing when I was 5. Went to college, played, and then I do have a daughter, and I coach her team. So I coach for the city, and then also coach a travel team. So that's my philanthropy, is giving back to the children and giving back to young women and helping them grow as leaders and helping them grow as individuals. And I absolutely love it. Okay. That's one thing that really drives me to get up every day.
Absolutely. I'm the same way, having coached softball, not as long as you have, but coaching softball and coaching football is a great opportunity to be in the community and to give back to the kids. Make sure that hopefully we go beyond the sport and we teach them. My motto is I always want to try to teach them something that they can take with them for a lifetime, not just to win and lose a game. Now, we're competitive. We won out 2-time conference champions, I want to say, on my team. But so we're competitive. However, it's more important to teach the kids something that can keep with them forever.
Well, it teaches them work ethic too.
Yeah.
You get out there and you work hard and you learn the fundamentals of something and you see where it can take you. Mm-hmm. Never in a million years would I have thought, from my experience, I would have gotten to play in 2 other countries. I would have never thought that I would have gone to college to play. So the opportunities that it had given me, I would like to give it back to the younger girls, just so that they can see the opportunities are out there.
Absolutely. So all you softball dads and softball parents, someone that can relate to you and help you find your home, you definitely talk to Jet. So I have a question. Mm-hmm. Where does the name Jet come from? That's a
good question.
Because I saw it, I was like, man, that's an interesting name. And I didn't know, I guess jet being an airplane, I thought about a guy at first and then it was a woman. So I was like, okay, I'm going to ask her that.
I get that confusion a lot when I call and I say, hey, this is Jet with First Class Real Estate. They're like, who?
Right,
Jess?
Right.
Well, my legal name, my government name is Jessica.
Okay.
And then here's the tie into softball again.
You were fast.
I was fast.
Oh,
and they started calling me Jet Ski because it looked like I was kind of floating along the dirt.
Okay.
And so it just shortened to the Jet as I got older.
Okay.
And in high school, everybody called me Jet. My family calls me Jet. Everybody calls me Jet. So just like, you know what? Let's brand that. Right. Jet Set Home.
There you go.
Are you ready to purchase Jet Set Home?
Okay. That's an interesting story. So my other question on the real estate side is, there are a lot of agents now in the market. Agents coming out left and right. There's a ton of them. So I always ask on the show, what do you feel like, and you spoke on it some, but what do you feel like is your niche? What do you feel like makes you stand out from the other real estate agents, not, in your market or in general?
Well, again, agents might hate me for saying this, but there are a lot of lazy agents out there.
That's true.
That don't go above and beyond. I am an overachiever.
Right.
I want to provide excellent customer service. I want to make sure that everything from start to finish runs smoothly. Now, it doesn't always, right? But the biggest part is, how can we find a solution to the problem?
Right, absolutely.
And, from the work ethic that I had been taught through sports and through everything else, you have to get up, you have to show up, and you have to put forth the effort. So I am not a lazy agent.
Right.
I will go above and beyond. Sometimes I will overachieve just so that my customers are happy.
Yeah, and that's the best way too. In having that sports background, I know that you coach your kids and I coach my kids the same way. You got to go, you got to do it, right? You got to get up, you got to show up. That's 90%.
That is 90%.
Of it is just showing up and being present and being focused on what you're doing and wanting excellence in that space. The rest of it, the hitting, the running, the stealing bases, all that stuff, we can teach that, we can coach that, but you got to show up and be present. So absolutely, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I come from a real estate agent background. I had my license for a while, and then I crossed over into lending. And then I found that to be the same, some of the same things when I started meeting with real estate agents. And my question as a lender was, what do you not like about lenders in general, or your lender, or what have you? Because obviously it was my goal to be their primary lender and to service them. And they said communication. And I thought, wow, what an easy problem to solve. Like, if all you need from me is communication, I can do that. And so I just thought it was odd that a lot of lenders, like you said, they're lazy people all over the world,
Right.
whether it's agents or lenders or doctors or lawyers or what have you. But I always try to move into a space to where the ball's not going to be in my court. As a lender, the ball's never going to be in my court. I'm going to be waiting on you before you're waiting on me.
Right.
Information, or you want to know where we are, whether from an agent side in the housing process, or from a lender side, the loan process, I'm always going to try to let you know where we are, even if I don't have any information. That's another thing that I think some mistakes that lenders make, whereas they don't communicate if there's no information, but people still want to know that there's no new information. So I think that constant communication is important.
Well, I think communication is a lost art now.
Absolutely.
Through text messages, through emails, emojis now can be read as something completely different. Yeah. And so you don't get to actually understand and hear clear communication from calling someone and saying, hey, Omar, I just wanted to call you and just let you know there's nothing to update you on, but I want to make sure you're good.
Right.
Any questions? And that goes a long way.
Nothing worse than sitting in the dark having no information.
Yeah, that makes us overthinkers, overanalyze what's going on.
I do that too, because I'm wondering, like, is something wrong? Why I haven't heard anything? But, hearing from a person matters. I'm a big coffee shop person. I try to meet people and meet my clients. If nothing else, let's just have a cup of coffee and chop it up and be, it's going to sound weird, but be people to each other.
Yeah.
Just be people to each other and, have a conversation and communicate. So, and then my kids will send me emojis and I have to ask them, what does that mean? Like, I don't know what you're trying to say and I don't want to be vague, so you're going to have to tell me what you're trying to say.
Well, now kids, they'll start, instead of sending a sentence, they'll send WBU emojis. Right. And I'm like, question mark? They're like, what about you? And then the emojis are supposed to end out the sentence. And you're like, just say what you're trying to say.
That's some advanced. You're probably coaching younger kids than I am.
I am.
That's some advanced, right? I haven't had the emojis finish the sentence. I would be so confused. But
that's why voice to text is amazing.
It is. It's
because you can just voice what you're trying to say, and then it'll send a voice snippet to them.
And it has gotten better over time. Like, I remember when it first started, it would jack up a lot of the words. But now, I mean, it's really good. And then I love when you say something, it'll write it, and then you wait a couple of seconds, and then it'll think about it and go back and fix it.
And correct it, yeah.
It's kind of creepy at the same time, though.
Yeah, but it's also a great tool.
Tech. Yeah,
it's a great tool for communication.
You can't stop tech. Where do our listeners and viewers, how do they reach you? How do they reach your company and everything?
Sure. So I'm Jet with First Class Real Estate, Triangle East. We're in the Rocky Mount area. Like I said, we cover the Raleigh market all the way to the coast. I am on Facebook at Jet.hatu, Realtor, First Class Real Estate, Triangle East. I also have my own website. It's very long, so maybe I can send it to you.
Absolutely.
So you can post that out. Or you could reach me at 336-504-5200. Call me, text me. Be more than happy to schedule some time to discuss your dreams and finding your home or garage door needs.
Absolutely. So actually I have another question.
Yeah.
I know when I was an agent, I had one that I preferred over the other, and most agents do both. Do you have a preference between listing and buyer?
Well, with all the volunteer work that I do, Omar, I prefer listing.
Okay.
Because it is it's a one and done, right? You get what the client's needing, get the client's wanting, you put it on the market.
Right.
And then you have dual agency with your current firm or, have other people bring it. So you're getting a slice of the pie without doing a lot of the work.
Yeah.
But listing is my forte.
Yep. I'm the same way. Well, when I was an agent, I was more so on the listing side. Just from a marketing background, I enjoy, marketing, brand, and business development. So the listing part was right up my alley. But I had a lot of good buyers during my time, so that was fun too. But if I had to pick one, I was a little bit on the listening side. Now, as far as your lending side, so now we jump on the lending side because it is called Ask a Lender. Do you have any likes or dislikes? You don't have to tell who those bad lenders are, unlike myself, but just give us some idea of what you like, or maybe just say what you like, maybe about lenders or lenders that you've worked with, just to kind of give us some idea.
Sure. So I do have two lenders that I prefer to work with. Now, again, like you said, I have met tons of lenders,
Right.
but communication is key. There are some buyers that don't know if they're qualified or they may not be qualified. And what I really like from a lender is for them to say, hey, you're not qualified, but here's how you can get there.
Right.
Let me help you to this process.
Absolutely.
Because a real estate agent and a lender, they work hand in hand.
Absolutely.
So I can't make your dreams come true if the lender can't get you to the point that your dreams can come true.
It's impossible, right?
So be honest. Be honest with me. Be honest with the customer or the client, just to let them know, hey, you're not ready. But if you do X, Y, Z and follow this timeline, you could be ready at this point in time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's another thing that I find, I guess, odd coming from the agent side. There are lenders who, if you're not ready right then, they kind of toss you into the sea. And coming from the real estate agent side, that's never been a philosophy of mine. My philosophy has always been, even if you can't right now, you can in the future. And if you have a desire and a passion to buy a home and get pre-approved, then we'll work together and get you there. We'll go over your credit and talk about your DTI and talk about all those things so that we can get you to the point of you can buy a house. It should be a long-term scenario, not, well, if you can't right now, then, because I've had a lot of people say, hey, I talked to a lender, guy never called me back. And I was honest. I said, probably, I can't read their mind. I don't know what anybody else is thinking, but I said, probably because you were not ready right then. And that's just the philosophy and the mindset of some lenders that, hey, it's now or never, whereas that has never been my philosophy, never will be my philosophy. I got into lending just to help people. Was on the real estate side to help people and got into lending to help people. So I do get that a lot. So now, jump right into the Ask a Lender side really quickly. I get a lot of questions over the series of the podcast, different episodes, as we have different people on. We'll hit different topics. Really quickly, we want to talk about DTI and your credit. Those are the most important things that you have to look at. We have to look at your credit score, and we have to look at your debt-to-income ratio. Not to go into super detail about those two things, but when you talk to a lender, whether it be myself or someone else, talk about that head on. Talk about it first. Don't feel bad about it or ashamed about it or anything like that. They're just numbers, right? They're just numbers that can be fixed with some work, but they're just numbers. I see people avoiding credit score conversations or avoiding debt-to-income ratio conversations, and we can't help you, or I can't help you, if we're not attacking it head on, if we're not being honest with each other and figuring out a way. Like I said before, if there's a will and there's a desire, then there's a way to get you pre-approved and working with someone like Jet to get you the home that you want. So unless you have anything else that's really quick about DTI and credit, you can reach me at askalenderpodcast@gmail.com. Jet, give your email one more time.
Jet.hatu, Hatu, at first class. Now that's first with a 1 ST. So jet.hatu at firstclassre.com.
Okay, and I'll make sure that when we post the episode, when we're sending out all the information, we'll have all of Jet's information in there. We'll have all my information in there. And if you have any questions or if there's some people who want to be on the show, give me a call. Thank you so much for being on
Thank you for
Ask a
having
Podcast.
me.
Hey, we're just getting started. This is our first and a half episode. So every month we're going to come back with more and more people. And hopefully, we just want the public to be able to benefit and learn about real estate and lending.
Well, thanks for allowing me to be your first guest.
All right, no problem. All right, thank you.